Welcome to the Amazing Authorities Podcast, where game changers, visionaries, and category leaders share how they built their brands, platforms, and global influence. Your host is Mitch Carson, international speaker, media strategist, and creator of the Instant Authority System. If you're ready to learn from those who've done it and want to become the go-to expert in your space, you're in the right place.
Today's guest, Ken Honda, is here to share not only about his best-selling book, Happy Money, and he's written, well, he'll tell you how many books. I don't want to miss the number. He's always writing new books, but Ken is a fantastic human being, and I have to say that first. Ken, welcome to the show. Welcome to the event. Just welcome, and I'm so pleased to have you here.
Thank you, Mitch. I'm so happy to be here. We met in Singapore.
Yes, about 1 year ago.
Yeah, and you really stood out, and I learned so much from you as an author and speaker, and you're very, most of all, you're very kind. So I was very impressed with who you are, and I heard it was just a week or a month after your health issue. So
Yes.
I really have a huge respect for you to begin with, and thank you so much for your invitation.
Well, thank you. I'm humbled to have you here. This is an event where people are showcasing their new books. All are best-selling authors on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And you have been, I want to talk a little bit about Happy Money, but then I want to give a lot of exposure to a topic which I love and I think will resonate with the crowd of people here. But talk about Happy Money. Do you have a copy handy? I have one downstairs, but yes. Okay. Happy Money. Tell us about Happy Money. What inspired you to write that? And what does true wealth mean? Oh, yeah. And then Smart Money.
In other words, there are like 34 languages,
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So this is English one. I think this is Australian. Somehow, British version, Australia, and America, they have different issues. So
yes.
Happy Money is money that makes you smile when you receive it. Mm-hmm. And when you spend money, it brings you a smile. That means you're enjoying the process of receiving and spending, both with gratitude. Unfortunately, most of us are feeling stressed out, frustrated, and feel sometimes resentful when we pay bills and pay taxes. So what I'm suggesting is by transforming your relationship with money, you can have a totally different experience. So that's what I'm teaching all over the world.
That's great. And you've done this. Where have you sold your books in how many languages? I want to hear that again.
Yeah, I think it's 34 or 35 in the world. So I didn't know there are so many languages, to be honest.
Yeah, well, yeah, a lot.
Some languages, I think they're spoken more than 1 million, right? Estonia, Portuguese, and Spanish are the big ones, but just Greece, Mongolian, and Arabic, and all the other languages. So I'm very excited that, and also my YouTube videos have been viewed for more than 100 million times somewhere.
Wow.
So people talk to me at the airport, and they say, "Oh, you're Ken Honda, I read your book." And then we engage a casual conversation on Happy Money and whatnot. So I'm very honored to be able to share my message as an author. Before starting this 22 years ago, before 120 or 30 books, before 9 million copies, I was just a happy retired father for a few years. And I had this vision of writing a book, which was bizarre for some of you who are watching this. Like writing books is somewhere so far out on the other side of the screen. That's what I thought 23 years ago. And I'm sure, Mitch, you're the same way, right?
Well, I haven't written and sold 9 million books yet. I have to push myself. And I say this with a friendly, competitive air. You're motivating me to write more. You know, it's quite gratifying. The first book I wrote, which was quite small, was used as a business card. I never even published it. As a matter of fact, I've written 18 books. Only one was published, but then it got published in German as well. And I was a bestseller in both languages, but the rest were used in a different way than the published route. They were bonuses if you bought my system,
Mm-hmm.
because as you might have discovered when we became friendly, I'm a platform salesman. I
Mm.
sell things from the stage. And I used books not to sell for $20 in the back of the room. It was a vehicle for credibility. It was a passion about a product or
Mm-hmm.
service, all in the nonfiction area. I want to explore fiction at some point, but it
Mm.
was nonfiction that was used to raise credibility. And it's worked for me successfully. You, however, what inspired you to write your first book? You were this father. Let me go back to that. You were this father
Right.
of a
Yeah. So
daughter, correct?
I was a happy retired father for 4 years.
Mm.
You know, I made all the money from investing and consulting in my early 20s. I had a very early start because of my father, who's a very successful tax accountant. He
Okay.
started teaching me about money since I was 6 or 7. So I had more than 20 years career when I was doing, actual consulting. And by by the time I retired at the age 29, I had pretty much all the grip on money and happiness. So I started writing about happiness and money, short essay, like 2 or 3 pages. I started showing them to my friends, and my friends loved it. And then they wanted to read more, and I wrote more. So it became a 26 page of uh, uh, copied, sort of like a newsletter type of thing. And my friends loved them. So they wanted more copies. So I stapled them every day. And I got sore hands. And I was complaining about it. My friend said, "Why don't you hire a printer?" Which I did. But the
Ah,
big mistake happened because I wanted to have only 300, but he said 1,000 is minimum. And then I was just about to sign the contract with 1,000 copies. The very good salesperson, he said, "Sir, if you print 3,000, then the cost of printing goes like dramatically, as you know, right?"
oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah, but the thing he didn't tell me intentionally is how many boxes that they're gonna
Oh,
be.
I remember you telling me something about this. And your wife, you had to tell her where you were storing them. Yes.
Right. So like instead of just having like 300 copies, I ordered 3,000, right? And then
Yes.
it translated into hundreds of boxes. That I didn't know. I thought the cost,
Hundreds.
yeah, there would be like 100 something.
Oh
And
my word.
then I had to empty one room out, and I just apologized to my wife. "I'm so sorry, I just made a big mistake with an order." I said, "I'm gonna get rid of them in 6 months," and she said, "I'll give you 3 months. Either box is out or you're out."
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I started calling my friends. "Hey, Mitch, you said you love my reading. I'll send you 30 copies, 50 copies. And Mitch, you have many friends, so I'm gonna send you 100 copies." And in about 2 weeks, I got rid of them all. And I'm just so proud of myself. I was so proud of myself that and then the mysterious things happened. At the time, there was no email, so people kept sending me faxes for more free copies because at the end I said, "I'm going to give you free copies, whoever want one." So I probably would have done PDF if there is any technology, but I printed old school. I printed the physical copies and started giving away. And I gave away another 3,000, another 5,000. And by the time I gave away 100,000 copies, a publisher called me, and the rest of it is a history because I got invited to this publisher. My first book sold about 100,000 copies, and the
Wow.
second
Wow.
50,000. And
In
my
Japan. In
yes,
Japan.
yes, my fourth book sold about 1 million copies. And then I keep pumping up books every 2 months. This one came out a few months ago, and then the next one, which I'm currently writing. If you're a writer, you kind of know, right?
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah.
yes.
So these usually I have 2 or 3 books on my table. So it keeps popping up. It's been 22 years.
And how many books have you written in total now? And I know you've got a couple under
Yeah.
development.
Yeah, I lost count, but I have to really start counting again. But I think my original will be from 60 to 70, and I translated many books, including Anthony Robbins books and The Law of Attraction, and those are bestsellers as well. So Ken Honda name on it, I think there will be 200 books somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot, Ken. I mean,
book
why don't
addict.
you work harder? Let's challenge your work ethic here, buddy.
Yeah, it's just like taking a walk, it's just it's fun. So it keeps just pumping up and I cannot really stop. So
Well, it's just part of your routine. I mean, people have to brush their teeth. You write books. I mean, they're one and the same.
yeah, so yeah, like when I go into a restaurant, I always have a few minutes, right? So I used to say to my family, okay, give me 5 minutes. Let me just go over the manuscript. And then by the time the dinner is over, I just pass it to an editor who's waiting on the other side of the room. So
Wow, that's great. And you're with Diamond Publishing or in
I
Japan?
have 6 or 7 publishers. So
Oh,
I have
okay.
a desk in the back of my car, so I can write in the car. It's a minivan. I'm sure you've seen it in
Yes.
Thailand. It's Alphard. So my
Yes.
Alphard has a desk in the back, so I
I've
can.
seen that in Japan. Actually, I have a client in Kyoto. He has a
Uh-huh.
car like that. It's the old, not old, but he had the Crown, the Toyota Crown with the big one with the you could put your feet in through the back, through the front seat, and he
Right,
relaxed with that type of. I said, "Wow, Japan is in style." But yeah,
right.
he's a client of mine in Kyoto. So
Okay,
yes.
yeah. I have a like my study. Yeah, I have a big desk in the back. So
Oh, that's great. Do you put your feet through?
yeah, if I want to, but
Okay.
instead I just keep writing.
Got it. Got it. Well, that's cool. Talk to me now. Happy Money is probably the most familiar book of Ken Honda's in the English speaking world.
Mm-hmm.
But you are working on something that I want to talk about specifically for the clients of mine, people that are going to be clients in the future, people who are looking at our aspiring authors. Let's talk about, hold up the book that you have in Japanese.
Yes.
Yes, tell us about that book. What inspired you to write this about inspiring writers?
Right. Probably for if you're Chinese speakers, you can read 作家, that means writer. And this is Chen, it's money, right?
Yes.
So it's about authors and money.
Okay. Tell us
For
about that.
Yeah, especially for those who are watching this show with Mitch, this topic must be interesting. And here it says, is publishing dying? Because of YouTube content, podcasting, people kind of like stop reading. Even though in Japan, amazingly, against all the odds, we are building new bookstores. Can you believe that?
Kinokuniya is the big one, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and also Tsutaya is a book cafe. It's
Okay.
huge. That they have this very nice cafe, very specially decorated, classic, and then people read. So still people read. So it's Japanese environment is a little bit different from other languages, but still is is book industry dying? And I said, no, because books are still the most intelligent way of communicating. With YouTube and the social media, it's like your attention span is like as short as fish. So
Sure.
we cannot
Sure.
really think. We cannot go into deep thinking. So if you want to really think about your life, YouTube is not long enough. So how I wrote a book on it. Sorry, it's in Japanese, but how authors function, how you can be creative, how you can just bump out of this speaker's black hole and the dark side and the light side of speakers and writers. And also, how do you become successful authors making money? So there are so many ways. For example, I generate more income than just writing. I generate substantial income from books because I sell about 500,000 copies every year.
Got it.
The reason is that I have YouTube channel. We have about 2 to 3 million viewers every month, and my podcast is hit 52 millions. So we have generated enough traffic so that people keep buying online courses and other things. So being a writer is a great ticket to give you credentials, and also they'll give you the sense of who you are. Like, for example, what you do, what you can do, and your back story of how you ended up doing what you do. So still, for many people, writing a book really works. So even though it may not be a bestseller, I think books can be used as a great leverage, and I think it's the most effective, and cost performance is very high. If you want to do a YouTube channel, you need to hire many staff and so many things like
Editing and all these
yeah,
things.
editing. Yeah, it's costing you a lot of money. But writing a book, you can do it with your computer. If you want to hire somebody, it's not hugely expensive. So I recommend anybody to write at least 3 books, so on. And if you are doing a professional business person, you should write at least 1 book a year to keep you updated.
Well, I talk about when I teach people about the author program is think of series. Think of a series because if someone is interested in your topic,
Hmm.
they're already hooked in you. Their credit card is out. They're
Yes.
interested in buying more of Ken Honda, not
Hmm.
just one book. They'll buy several books, but they can't buy them if they're not available. So don't
Right.
write just one book because then you're just a one-off author. You want to write several. And just like you said, and that there's proof to, okay, the cart was $19 for the first book. And if I buy all 3 of Ken's book in the series, that's great. And of course, I save money because I'm shipping only one time and people will do their own rationalizations in their brain to buy it. But that's sound advice. And if you don't mind, I want to dig in a little bit
Sure.
about the business side.
Hmm.
You sell courses based
Yes.
on your books or on life, or what do you do there? Because I would love to talk more about that.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I pretty much everything is in Japanese. I have only a
Okay.
few courses like with Mind Valley and also our own, but I mostly teach on happiness and money EQ side.
Right.
So money EQ side, I teach online. I have the 3 courses in money EQ.
In Japanese.
Yes, in Japanese, and I'm going to probably do more for English audience because there is such a big demand. So, for example, I have this money EQ courses in Japanese, and that course is about $2,000.
Okay.
Uh, we have about we've had about 20,000 people in the past. So you know how much money I've made over the years, and that's just a fraction of money I make.
That
So,
would pay for a Kobe beef steak.
yes, every day. That's why I got
Every day. Yeah, but that's my favorite steak. The best steak in the world is in Japan. Yeah,
Yes,
for
yes.
for sure.
So
But that's so courses related to the book. You
yeah,
have a podcast. Is the podcast Japanese also?
yes, and also I started English YouTube channel, and
Uh-huh.
last year I started with 1,000 people. Now we have about 40,000 people. So if you're interested, just Google Ken Honda. It's in Spanish and English too, and I have a Chinese website set up as well. So I'm just expanding slowly to many different languages.
Well, that's smart. Yeah. And German, by the way, is a huge market. They have every bit the buying power of any first world country. And
Hmm.
they like to consume, 80 million of them, the information in their language. I
Yeah.
found that out when I came out with my book, The Silent Salesman, 2008, published by John Wiley and Sons in the US. So I sold about 11,000 copies in the US, which wasn't bad in a niche market for a first time author. And
Hmm.
then the rights were taken over by they were distributed through Ingram into Germany, and another 4,000 copies were sold there.
Hmm.
Much smaller country, only 80 million of them, but it
Hmm.
became a bestseller there. Simply, they buy in
Yeah.
Germany, and people
Yeah.
overlook that market. No, they've got money.
Yes, I think the same thing for Japan too. People still read a lot, and people love to learn more. So I think I think Japan is the second largest market outside US.
Of books.
Yeah, on books and self-help industry because
But the language, if they've ever consumed in English, oh my gosh, it would be very strong because I do believe that. But it's Japanese language for the most part.
right. But the good news for English speakers, and I think especially Mitch, your clients, there's this barriers that kind of tearing them down. The Google and Amazon. Wait another year or two to just that they just tear down the wall between languages. So
Yes.
I think give it another year or two. We can all understand each other without any problem because of
Well,
it.
yeah, I remember the first time I spoke in Japan was 2000. Oh gosh, it's been 10 years now. So it was a 2014, 15
Mm-hmm.
at Tokyo Big Shot.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 6,000 people there. And it was the first time I was working with international translation. I'd
Mm-hmm.
only spoken in the English speaking world at that
Mm.
point. And and the delay that goes on to where I thought I said something funny, and then 15 seconds later, ho 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 ho, they start laughing. It's funny.
Right.
And I learned a couple of these things, and I was so uninformed. I thought everybody in Japan, I might have shared this with you when I met you because I'm a lifelong martial artist. And one of my black belts is in a Kyokushin style
Mm.
karate, it comes from
Mm.
Masoyama system in Japan.
Right.
And I came out and took a stance and said, "Oh, it's," and I thought everybody would stand up and say it back because in America, I was ignorant. It was my first time in Japan. I thought everybody was a martial artist, was at least a black belt, you know, and I couldn't have been more wrong. That's old Japan. The
Yes.
newer Japan, that's all in the movies. And with the reality does not match the perception.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized at that point, I just messed up. They must think I'm just a loudmouth American. And then I went through the translation and I was able to recover the crowd, but it was
Uh-huh.
an awkward moment right then when I realized, martial arts are more popular in America than they are in Japan today.
True. That's true. It's almost like a dying art. If you're just trying to wear like a gunman from the West.
Exactly.
Wayne, like what?
Yeah, it's so many. That's a century ago.
Right.
It's like the
Cool.
Edo period is no longer in existence.
Right. Only
Yeah,
in the dojos, right?
yeah, well, yeah, it just changed, and I had a big wake up call, and I've been to Japan 18 times, so I very much appreciate the culture. I've spent a lot of time in Tokyo, and Kyoto. Now,
Mm-hmm.
in Kyoto, in April, I think you
Hmm.
mentioned you have an
Yeah.
event coming up. Tell us about that because I want people
Yeah.
to learn and maybe be able to connect with you.
Right. Yeah. So I know a lot of people in Singapore, Malaysia, and Asian countries, they love Kyoto. So I decided to do an event for international guests and also Japanese guests. So the theme I picked up is arigato manifesting. So that means that by appreciating what's ahead, so you pre-celebrate your success by saying arigato to your first million copies. So I pre-celebrated my sales for 1 million book before I published my first book. So I already envisioned, and I had a party even that thank you so much for coming to my million copy success party. So
Sure.
everybody it really enjoyed it. And I think I downloaded the information and that everybody's so happy with a million copy sales. So always pre-celebrate by saying arigato or thank you. So you can thank your money, that's happy money. You can thank your first $1 million. You can thank your first million copies. You can thank by appreciating the path to a beautiful future opens. So you cannot open the door with resentment. Some people start their business by resenting, like, I'm going to make it. That black engine just wears up because your heart will be sucked into this black hole, that numbness, emptiness, like, I work to revenge. So if you just start appreciating um, your doors that you want to go, uh, by appreciating, the door opens automatically. That's what I teach in Kyoto in April.
Will it be in English or in Japanese or both?
Yeah, I'll teach in Japanese, but there will be enough English speakers, so we have a simultaneous interpreter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
and
good. Well, I'll make that when you have the details available, I'll make it
thank you.
available to my clients in Asia, and
Yeah.
I'll do my best to
Uh,
attend myself.
you. We
Uh,
have a special geisha one night, dinner, and then
oh,
it's so funny. A lot of guys and also women, especially, have something sexual fantasy. So so when I talk about the special one night geisha dinner, like all my American friends got really psyched up. Like, no, 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 don't think anything sexual fantasy. It's very 100% platonic, but it's fun.
oh,
So,
it's great, and I'll echo that sentiment. One of my clients in Kyoto took me to the house there twice in Kyoto,
yeah,
2 different times, and I went through the whole show, and they pour the tea, and they do
yeah,
the dance and the
mhm,
music, and you can only get there by invitation. You just can't walk in.
yes,
It's very prestigious, and
mhm,
it was so elegant when the
mm,
geiko then becomes a geisha, and the
yes,
process of being, I thought, wow, Japan's culture is so deep and quite different. Again, perception was not reality. I was
yeah,
not looking for sex or anything like that. I was looking for, I mean, I was there with 5 of my highest level Japanese clients. So
uh-huh,
even if I wanted to be naughty, I couldn't. But that wasn't on my mind. I appreciated the cultural immersion, the experience of the beauty of their instruments and how they served and their costumes. And oh my gosh, the attention to detail in
right,
Japan is impressive. I can't wait to come back in April.
yes.
And
So,
isn't that cherry blossom season, Ken?
yeah, yeah. So that tradition hasn't changed for the past few hundred years. So I think Japan is a very interesting place. There's certain things like AI and semiconductor. It's changing every second. They're developing hydrogen engine driven cars. Toyota are already is just making those cars. That's a future Japan. But the old traditional Japan is like dojo type. And also
Sure.
Kyoto hasn't changed a bit for the past 400 years.
It's a flashback in time. You see a
Yes.
lot of the women walking down the street in the traditional Japanese, kimonos and all that. I thought, God, what just fantastic. I'm already smiling and excited because I haven't been to Japan since before the pandemic. So I'm going to
Oh,
be going, yeah, so I'll be coming
yeah.
back
We
in
should plan something fun. Yeah, I
yes,
do
I'm looking
big events.
forward to
I do big events all the time, so you can hop in on the way back to US, maybe from
yes.
from
Yeah.
Asia.
Yes, I will definitely attend that. Well, Ken, what advice do you have
Yes.
for aspiring authors? And I know you wrote the book, but if you would dispense in
Sure.
English, since not
Yeah.
everybody speaks Japanese,
Right.
tell can they do to be a mini Ken Honda?
Sure. That's a great question. Thank you. So you need to position yourself as an expert. If you're a doctor, just talk about your expertise and talk about your history as well. And also, there are some stories, your personal stories, and you may think it's boring, but in fact, the people love those stories. People love the most among all the books I wrote. I often talk about my issues, you know past history with my father, who is alcoholic. So
Mm,
as much as I loved and respect his teaching of money, I couldn't really respect his abusive side with alcohol. So with that, I had this mixed feelings around money, and I think it's in everybody's. So when I share my heart, what happened in my childhood, what happened in my teens, people can really relate to me. So not only you have this expertise as a doctor, business person, or in AI or whatever the field you are in, you can just say you're an expert with a human heart. So if people can relate to you, they want to learn from you. So you have to establish two things, respect and also likability. If people cannot relate to you, uh, as much as they pay respect, they don't want to hang around with you. So if you can just share that you have the expertise, and also if somehow if you can relate if you can write something that's relatable for the future readers and clients, and then you're just doing the right thing.
You mentioned something that I found it's quite profound in your statement. So simple and obvious, but it was right on the money. You've got to be likable, and people relate to stories.
Yes.
They live through your stories. We may think, oh, my story isn't interesting. No, people love human interest stories. And here's this tragic reality. You hit a chord with me talking about alcoholic father. Both my parents were alcoholics.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't drink. I personally then had a problem, and I haven't had a drink in 41 years now because I know the damage it does. But you, with that little snippet of exposure of what your life was like as a youth and the experience, you probably had some abuse from that, as most people do with an alcoholic parent. That made me connect with you at a deeper level. Just that little snippet of information of exposing something that normally Japanese people, I'm generalizing, are pretty closed off about exposing this.
Right.
And you went different right there. You shared something that was personal to you, and I applaud you for the willingness to share that, to help people share their stories, which people then will connect with and live through and live through.
So you are going through the exact process that your future clients are going through. So just embrace the process, and I think the thing you're going to teach will be cast upon you. For example, if you want to teach about happiness and money, right before or in the middle of writing, there are some kind of accidents or things happen to you that's going to test your commitment. Like if you're writing a health book, and the health issues come up, so like you have to pass the test. So that's something I'm half joking, but it's serious.
Sure.
That kind of thing happens, and then if you pass the test as your first client, you are your first client, and if you have the remedy to cure your sales, cure for relationships, cure for health and losing weight, then you can be welcomed as a teacher and a presenter. So don't become a salesperson, become an expert who can help your clients. So
then they'll come to you magnetically.
Right. And you don't have to sell.
No, then that's great marketing, great positioning. People will come to you without having to push them.
Right. So you just invite, and I think these books can be the invitation card. And
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Usually, if you try to send out all the direct mails, it's going to cost you a lot. But I'm making millions of dollars by sending, direct mails, because they pay to get your information.
That's
so
great.
I think, book royalties is an extra thank you money, happy money for you to be committed to your field and also committed to helping clients. So
that's great.
Yeah. So it's a happy money. So
happy money, Ken Honda. Ken, well, thank you. It's been an honor to have you as part of this recording, this session today, and what you've shared has been invaluable. I will support you in your upcoming event in April for sure. And I look forward to more interactions and making my money happy. So thank you for your time today. And we will see you again very soon. I'll have you on as a guest in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We'll just, I have a feeling we'll share experiences on both of our stages in the future. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Amazing Authorities Podcast. If today's episode inspired you, take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It helps more experts like you rise to the top. For behind-the-scenes access and free resources to boost your authority, head to MitchCarson.com. Until next time, stay amazing.